Well, hi, good morning. Again, I don't know what's happening with our sound and the technology, but I really hope you can hear me now, and I'm glad that you're here. Good morning. Let's get a shout out though. Who all is with us this morning? Where are you from? Who are you? Where are you from? And hope you're having a wonderful morning so far. I was just starting to tell the story, and I want to share it anyway again because I had such a great morning this morning. I was drinking my coffee, I was reading my Bible, doing my quiet time like I normally do, and I just happened to look over at my coffee cup, and my coffee cup has an amazing saying on it, and it says, I don't know if you can see it because it's backwards here, but it says, rise by lifting others. Hey, Joseph from Kentucky. Hey, Miko from Haiti. So good to hear you. You can hear me now. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for joining us. So I was just talking about my coffee mug that I was drinking out of this morning, and it says, rise by lifting others. And a client of mine gave me this, and it is just such an awesome reminder every morning for me. And I want to read you what it says because it is exactly what I wanted to talk about today. And it says here, everyone wants to get ahead in this world, but it's hard when people go about it in a rude, selfish, and thoughtless ways. The fact is, the real rise to the top starts by just letting go of the rat race and concentrating on lifting and inspiring others. When we stop focusing on ourselves, we find extraordinary joy in watching others' dreams take flight. In the process, they become the wind beneath our wings, and we effortlessly float to the top with them. In fact, we often find ourselves soaring higher than we ever dreamed possible. The ride is a blast, and the view is amazing. So inspire, uplift, and empower others. It is the secret to true and lasting greatness. Isn't that awesome? I absolutely love that because it is so true. That is the secret to true and lasting greatness. It's just lifting up others. And it ties in perfectly with Zig Ziglar's most famous quote of all time, which is, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. Isn't that what life is all about? Thank you for your shares, your likes. Thank you for joining us this morning. Hello from Japan. We have Shigyu from Japan, Yem from Philippines. Welcome. Mian, welcome. Hung from Vietnam. We're so happy you're here. Thank you for joining us from India. Matthews, Jamie, feeling better already? Good. David from Oregon. We're so happy you're here. This is such a privilege to come and share with you and encourage you and give you something to think about. And it's the start of my day and maybe the end of your day, depending on where you are in the world. But I hope that this helps give you some food for thought. And you know, I started with sharing what my coffee mug says, rise by lifting others. But it is all about Zig's famous quote, isn't it? And I want to know, how does it feel when you do lift up others? How does it feel when you know you did something for somebody, not for your benefit, but purely for theirs? But in the end, it came back to benefit you. I mean, that's really what that quote is all about, right? The golden rule of help somebody else and in turn they will help you, but you don't go about it just to get something from somebody else. And so it is so powerful. Good morning again. We have Ikram from Pakistan, Anna from Florida. Good morning. Anna also from Redding, California. And Janine from Long Island. Roberto, good morning. Good morning. Good morning to all. I was, yesterday, I was speaking on behalf of Ziglar International. I was actually speaking for this wonderful nonprofit called the Gatehouse. And the topic was business etiquette and how to dress for success. And it was really all about how do you put your best foot forward? How do you show others the best version of yourself? And, you know, of course, there's lots of different etiquette tips and tricks that we shared, but it really boiled down to confidence and how you feel about yourself and what you put out to the world. And that's a question for you. You know, how do you show up in the world? Are you getting the results in your life that you want? Could it be that maybe you could tweak a little bit of something in the way that you show yourself to others, in the way you smile, in the way you genuinely look to help other people? It is so powerful. And there were so many different things that we talked about during this it was a 3-hour session, but it was so interesting. A story came up that I hadn't thought about in years. And in fact, it happened when I was working for Zig Ziglar in the 90s. It was like 1992, 93. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a very proud Ziglar Legacy Certified Trainer. My passion is to keep the legacy of Zig Ziglar alive. But where did that passion come from? Well, I worked for Mr. Ziglar when I was very young. I was in my 20s. I was just out of college, and I absolutely loved working there. And just my passion every day, knowing we were making a difference in somebody's life it was just awesome. So, but one time I had this opportunity of a lifetime. And it's funny, I had never mentioned it from the stage before. I had never even, I hadn't brought it up in about 15, 20 years until yesterday when I was speaking on business etiquette. And I want to share it with you too, because it says a lot about Zig Ziglar. It also says a lot about why that quote, "You can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want," is so powerful. So we were talking about business etiquette and the power of introductions and how you always have the proper way, especially in the United States, of how to make an introduction with a handshake, look somebody in the eye, and then how do you introduce others? And the point of all that was to be inclusive, to make other people feel comfortable, to make people feel acknowledged when you introduce them. And it reminded me of the story when I was fortunate enough to go with Zig Ziglar on a trip. And it was just me and Zig and my client who flew us in his private jet, of all things, to one of those huge Get Motivated seminars. Do y'all remember those events? They still do them, but these were back in the 90s. They were enormous events where they had, I don't know, 10, 20 speakers on the platform. It was this all-day event, amazing event. And Zig was one of them. He was one of the staples. So he traveled all over the world, all over the country doing these. This particular trip, I got to go with them. And my role was to be his assistant. And I was a nervous wreck. I'm not kidding. I was so nervous. I'm in my 20s. I'm with Zig Ziglar going to one of these huge events. And I was, there to support him, to make him look good. And I was so nervous. So we get to this event and there's a big green room. And for those of you who have been to these events, you know that there's big time speakers. That particular time, Colin Powell was there, Larry King, Elizabeth Dole, and so many more that I don't even remember, but those I remember. And so we're in the green room and I'm with Zig at this point, just me and Zig, and everyone else in the green room who's ready to go speak, these big speakers. And I'm nervous, and I wanted to represent him well. I wanted him to be proud of me, and I wanted to make him look good. And you know what happened? Larry King comes up and says, "Hey, Zig, how you doing?" And shakes his hand, and before Zig even responded, he said, "Oh my God, have you met Michelle Prince? Have you met Michelle yet? She is amazing. She is our top salesperson." And I don't think I even was their top salesperson, but he sure did make me feel like the most special person in the whole room. And it's funny because I hadn't remembered that story, but the way he made me feel in that moment was so special. And what did he do? He obviously, this was all about him. It was his moment, but he's putting the focus on me. And I wasn't anyone in particularly special at the time. I was one of many salespeople. But that's the epitome of who Zig Ziglar was. And the spirit we all want to continue carrying on is when you put someone else first, when you put their needs, their desires first, that's when you are successful in life. And thank you for all your hearts and loves. I mean, truthfully, it still makes me a little emotional thinking about that, but that's who he was. And that is why I'm so passionate. Yes, a great speaker. Yes, an amazing author, but more importantly, an incredible man. And that's why I'm here, serving his legacy. But isn't that awesome? And it's just such a great reminder. You can do that. How can you today, what can you say to somebody? How can you make someone feel special? When we say, or his quote is, "You can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want." What do we want? We want to feel loved. We want to feel heard. We want to feel appreciated. We want to feel understood. So how can you do that to somebody today the way he made me feel? Here, it's 20 some odd years later, and I still feel that joy. And I hope that resonates with somebody today, because I just felt like I wanted to share that story. So Juan Pablo, you're right. Zig Ziglar is the best. There's nobody been anyone like him. But I will say his family, his kids, and his wife are pretty darn close. So get to know them too. Okay, Holly, glad you're here. Yvette, very humble, most humble man ever was Zig Ziglar. And I think that is why he was so successful. It wasn't, yes, the content he taught powerful, but the person who he was really what I think drew people in. And we all have that ability every single day to lift somebody else up. And in the process, we will be lifted. And that's really what it's all about. So let me hear who else on here. Right, Gustavo, thank you for that. Jamie, amen, amen. I believe you there. Dee, hello, Dee. Hello, Jesse. Hello from Zimbabwe. I'm so happy you're here. You know, no matter where you are in the world, I think we all want the same things, don't we? We want to be loved, we want to be understood, and we want to be treated fairly. But in order to have that happen to you, you have to first do that to somebody else. And it's kind of like when we talk about finding friends, everybody wants to have friends, right? You know, when you're kids in elementary school and everybody talks, you want to have a friend, you want to have a best friend, a group of friends. Well, the only way to get friends, you can't get friends. It just doesn't work that way. The only way to have friends is to be a friend. So it starts first with how you treat other people, and then everything else comes back to you. I want to share a resource. So for those of you who, I want to encourage you to join us. All of this stuff that we're doing for you is totally free because we want to encourage you. We want to help you to be the best you that you can be. Zig wanted nothing more than to help people to rise to the top. So join us on the free webinars that we post on this page. In fact, there is a free one coming up at the very top of this page. You'll see the link. Go ahead and register because they fill up really fast and you don't want to miss out. And the next one's the 3 C's of confidence. And confidence is key in everything. Because think about, what is confidence? Confidence is just knowing without any doubt that you have what it takes. And in treating people fairly, in being successful in your personal, professional life, whatever, it boils down to confidence. It's not being arrogant. It's knowing that I have everything within me to be successful. And I'm going to use what has been given to me, my gifts, and share them with other people. And that is confidence. And so there's so much more in the webinar. You're going to absolutely love it. So register for that. I also want to give you a free resource. Oh, and when you register, before I forget, when you register for that webinar, you are going to get something extraordinary. The book, Born to Win, Find Your Success Code ebook, we're going to give that to you for free. And if you don't know, this was Zig's last book that he did with his son, Tom Ziglar. It is amazing. It is so good. I've read it so many times. And so the fact that you would get it for free, pretty good deal. So go ahead and register for that webinar. And I also want to mention that last time I did a video, I was talking about the wheel of life and finding your goals in each area of your life. And if you didn't get that free resource, the Wheel of Life, the PDF, so that you can do that and download it yourself, then please message us, go to Ziglar.com, and we'll make sure that we can get that to you and send that to you. But anyway, thank you. Oh, Cassandra's asking, where's the registration for the webinar? At the very top on the description of this video this morning, there is a link that you can just click and register, and do it quickly because it does fill up, and we want to make sure you get that free ebook too. So hi, Yvette from Ireland. Hi. Okay, so Cassandra, if the link's not working, just give us a second and we're going to post it in the comments here. So just be on the lookout for that and we'll get that to you. We have a great team at Ziglar. Ziglar is, it's small and mighty because we're all serving the same purpose. And I'm actually, a representative of Ziglar, and I'm not there in the corporate office, but it's just an amazing group of people that you just want to get to know. Anyway, I hope you're having a great morning. There is the link there if you for the Wheel of Life. And Gustavo, welcome. You're from Nicaragua. We're happy that you're here. Joseph, we're glad that you're here too, and thank you for joining us. So how are you going to make today different? What are you going to do? How can you rise somebody, or how can you lift somebody else up today? It takes nothing. It takes absolutely nothing. It takes a text message to say, hey, I was just thinking about you and how grateful I am for you. You could send a message, you could send a note. You could just let somebody know when you're in the grocery store today. If the woman or the man checking you out at the grocery store gives you a smile, just say, you have a beautiful smile. And of course, you think these things, but sometimes we get so caught up in our world that we forget to make that effort. But I can tell you right now, that little compliment will make that person's day. Maybe their week. Maybe it's the first time somebody has really acknowledged them in a long, long time. And it's just so simple. There is, hi Donna from the Philippines. There's one of my favorite songs right now is called Breathe. And I can't think of who sings it, but it's a great song. And I was listening to it yesterday, and one of the verses in the song it just reminded me again of how when we're so busy in life that we sometimes forget to do the things that make us feel good, the things that matter, the things that are really the most important things. I'm not going to sing it because I'm not a singer, but I'll share it with you. It says, I'm busy, 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 and it's no surprise to see that I only have time for me, me, me. There's got to be something more to this crazy life. And it goes on and on and on. And the whole point of the song is no matter, it's just all about just breathe and just stop for a minute and really look at your life. I know you're busy. I have no doubt you're busy. I'm super busy with raising kids, being a wife, being a business owner, and, trying to be the best version of myself and try to be the best person I can be. But busy is really an excuse for, well, it's just an excuse because we choose what we do with our time. We choose what we put in our calendar, and we choose what we commit to. So it really is more about just stopping. And so that song's all about just breathe, come and rest and think about what really matters. And I hope today's message, or what I feel my message for today is what really matters is relationships. And it's treating other people the way they want to be treated, and tying into Zig's quote of you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. Susan, thank you. Wapasso, I love these live feeds. They're so encouraging and uplifting. Thank you. That is our only goal, is to uplift and inspire you. We're not here to sell you anything. We're not here to try to get you to do anything other than just be you. Just be you. Because, the other quote that I love of Zig's is, man was designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with the seeds of greatness. And you have seeds of greatness. You have them. You may not know they're there, but you have them. And your only job in life is to find out what those seeds are, nurture them, water them, help them to flourish and to grow. And those seeds, gifts, are the things that you share with other people to make a difference. And going back to, and then when you do that, that's how you lift others and you rise in the process. Hi, Dusty from Tempe. What questions do you have? How can I help you this morning to whether it be to help others, by lifting them up? Maybe it's to some of you are so stressed out with a busy schedule. Whatever I can do, I want to be a support to you. Thank you, Tesa. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Awesome message. Thank you. Good morning. It's funny. I always think about, before obviously I come on here, what I want to talk about, and I had something totally different planned today. Totally different, but drinking my cup of coffee and reading this, I was like, no, somebody needs to hear this today. And maybe if it was just only for me, that's okay. But I felt like somebody really needed this message today. And thank you, Jessica. It is a great song. I wish I knew the artist's name, but it's called Breathe. It's a Christian song. It's awesome. I love it. Okay, Rick says, this is kind of funny in a sick way. The post on my wall says, Zig Ziglar is now live. What a comeback. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not Zig Ziglar, and I don't think anyone could ever replace Zig, but I am a very, very proud representative of the Zig Ziglar movement to keep Zig Ziglar's legacy alive. And so I am a speaker and a trainer, and but yeah, definitely not Zig. Okay, lots of love from Turkey. We're so happy you're here too. You need a drive. Okay, Yvette is saying, I need drive to lose weight. Okay, well, I can so relate to that. I think a lot of people probably watching this want to lose some weight and, be our best version of ourselves. But where does drive come from? It comes from conviction, and it comes from clarity. The other day when I was talking about the wheel of life, see, any goal that we set, it's not about just setting goals. I mean, that's important, and Zig will teach you through his books and products and resources how to do that. But it comes down to first having clarity. Why do you really want to lose weight? You know, you don't have to answer that, but that's a question for yourself. Is it, if it's not really tied to something that's very important to you, like maybe your health isn't where it needs to be. Maybe you're getting older, you know, like I am, and you want to live as long as you can and as fit and as healthy as you can. Maybe you have a class reunion coming up and you want to look your best. You want to show your best self. But getting that clarity on what you really want and why you want it is the first step. Before you can accomplish a goal, you have to know why you want to accomplish it. And it's funny, sometimes that's the hardest question. I get that even for myself in business. So I own my own business. I own a couple businesses. I have a publishing company and a speaking business. And sometimes I can get so busy in doing what I do every day that I have to sometimes pause and say, why am I doing this? You know, what is really, is it still tied to the same motivation and the same goal as when I started my business? Or is it going to take me in a different direction that is going to take me away from my purpose? And I have to do that on a daily basis, and I think most of us do. But that's the key. Is clarity is key. You have to really ask yourself, what do you want to accomplish? But then why? And if you can't get a really strong why, then it's really not a goal to go after, because those are the goals that you set and then you never accomplish. So Dusty's saying, I just started a new sales manager position in a staffing firm. I used to be in the staffing world as well. I work side by side with an admin who's supposed to get potential employees to staff in the door to place in new jobs. The owner is not happy. I'm going to see if I can see more because this is cutting off a little bit. The owner is not happy with her not doing her job and asked me to motivate her or she will be gone. What do you suggest as an approach? Okay. Well, I'm definitely, I've been in sales most of my life. I think the question is, what motivates your employee? You know, we all get motivated by different things. Some people are motivated by money, absolutely. So maybe it's, you know, the commission that will come in. But most people, believe it or not, are motivated by recognition, by being acknowledged, by pointing out something they're doing right, and then, you know, giving them that feedback. A lot of times, and I'm guilty of this myself with my own employees, is sometimes we get so caught up in expectations and what we need them to do, right? Because that's why we hired them, that when they fall short a little bit, we focus on what they're doing wrong. So I would suggest, number one, asking that person, he or she, what motivates her? Why do you work here? Why do you like this job? Why did you want to work here? And what motivates you most? And if it is recognition, I would make an effort to make that a priority. Let's see. Oh, Michael said this week is Employee Appreciation Week. How can I show appreciation back to bosses? You know, same thing. Sometimes I think in a corporate setting, we get so caught up in just being so professional and only talking about the business. But why not compliment them on something that they're doing right? Something that maybe they don't notice. Maybe that your boss is a great listener. Maybe they are fair. Maybe they, you know, are a great example. Maybe they're the person who shows up early and stays late, and a great example of what work ethic is. Those little things we notice, but we don't always acknowledge in people, and it goes a really, really, really long way. Okay, Anna is asking, give us a link to the publishing business, please. Well, I'm not here really to promote myself, but everything is on michelleprince.com if you want to learn more about me. And Dubai, welcome. We're glad you're here. Body language affects employees' motivation. Yes. Okay. So yesterday, the training that I did that I was telling you about was business etiquette. But so much of how we impact and influence other people is nonverbal. It's obviously the way we dress. So we talked about that, dress for success. But posture, facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, all of those things send a message to everyone around you, employee or not. So this is something important to think about, is how are you showing up? Are you coming in kind of, you know, with a scowl and, you know, that kind of like, you know, you're just not really happy with what's happening, and you maybe have your arms crossed, and, you know, that is sending a message whether you say a word or not. Or are you coming in and regardless of how that employee is doing, treating them like a person first, and then approaching what they could work on? There's something that I've heard before of how to give great criticism. which criticism is just feedback if anyone is open-minded to it. Because if we really want to improve and be the best that we can be, employees, they don't want to fail. They don't want to fail. They want to succeed in what they're doing. So sometimes, though, they don't know what to do. Or sometimes they're not sure if what they're doing is the right thing and they need that acknowledgement. And so what I had heard was sandwiching. And that is, you always start off with a compliment. What are they doing right? Again, it's just a human need. We need to be acknowledged. But then what can they improve upon? Followed by another compliment. So it's that sandwich approach. And so that tends to work. But you know, managers, bosses, employees, coworkers, at the end of the day, they're all just people. So I have a theory that if you just treat people like people and not titles and not, you know, putting them in boxes or categories and just treat them like a human being, you're going to get a lot more from someone. I can tell you one thing of when I worked at the Ziglar headquarters that really, again, spoke to me of how Zig ran his company is, you know, he was so busy, first of all. He was out speaking everywhere in the world. He had things, when he was in the office, he was busy. He wasn't there to socialize, but you know what he always did? He would always walk around. We were in cubicles in this huge office, and I just remember him always stopping in everyone's cubicle and just talking to them as a person. Good morning, how was your weekend? At the time I was dating my now husband, and every time he'd come in my cubicle, he'd always say, now, Michelle, is that boy still treating you right? And it was just the cutest thing ever. But he cared about us as people long before he cared about what we were doing for him in the job. And that made me, at least, want to work that much harder to make him happy and proud for me to work for him. So I think that's what we all need. And maybe just try that approach of, I don't think anyone working for any boss out there wants to fail. So let's see. Asif has said, I just attended Preparing Global Leaders Summit in Moscow. And the way you speak reminds me of his way of inspiring others. Oh, thank you. Oh, that is very kind. I appreciate that. You know, anyone who is up on a stage speaking, they're probably there because they have a passion for helping other people, or at least they should be there for that reason. So, you know, but you don't have to be on a stage to inspire other people. You can do it in your everyday life. You can do it with the person who lives next door to you by just saying one kind word or acknowledging one thing they're doing. Like, wow, even somebody like, gosh, your yard is just amazing. I see how hard you work in it. Those kinds of things just light people up, and you just never know what somebody's going through and what they need to hear that day. Okay, I have a question, and I don't want to mispronounce your name, but Ab says, if you don't mind, I need to know more about body language because I need to use it in sales. What is the best way to learn it? Wow, okay, you know what? I'm happy to answer that. Body language is huge. So if everything we do is nonverbal, if nobody hears one word we say, they are seeing everything, right? If you have your volume turned off right now, or like in the beginning when the volume wasn't working, you couldn't hear what I said, but you could probably feel me based on my body language, right? I'm leaning towards you. My eyes are open. I'm smiling, and I'm just happy to be here. Now, what if I did the absolute opposite and I was just kind of back here and, you know, kind of looking around, my tone of, you know, everything just kind of changed? Well, the impression you have of me is probably not as good. So body language is either open or it's closed. And at any given time, you want to be aware of it. So when you go and you meet somebody, is your energy high? Is it low? Are you going and shaking their hand first, or are you holding back? Are you judging? You know, arms closed is a very judgmental, you know, kind of stance. Or are you open? And just be aware of it. And sometimes even myself, I'll be in a conversation with someone and I may even be cold and I'm going like this with my arms closed. But I'm aware that, they may not know I'm cold. They may think I'm just maybe angry or not really liking our conversation. So it's a really, really interesting thing to be aware of. Dawn says this is some of her favorite topics. I love it. Hello. What other questions do you have? Dwayne, I'm glad you like this. We're glad you're here. And, you know, it's funny how these videos go. I always come with what I think is going to be the topic, but somehow it goes in a different direction. And that's the beauty of why we want to encourage you, because some people need to be encouraged in some ways and some people in others. But like I said, the start of it with this coffee mug is really what I think maybe I needed to hear today. So again, join us on these webinars. The next one is coming up very, very shortly. These are live webinars with Tom Ziglar, David Wright. I am doing some of the webinars. It's a series, and you definitely want to click on the link. It's there in the feed right now. And the next one is the 3 C's of confidence. I'm curious, how confident do you feel? Did you know you don't have to feel confident in order to be seen as confident? And I'll tell you the truth. For my profession, I'm up on stages a lot, and I do speak in front of groups. And sometimes they're small groups, like 30, 40 people. And other times they're massive groups where there's thousands. And so sometimes, again, the size of the audience can vary. And I'll be honest with you, even though I've done this so many times, even though I'm so passionate about what I do, even though I believe that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I still get nervous. And I remember Zig saying one time, or a couple times actually, I'm not going to get the exact quote right, but something about, even thoroughbreds, before they go out, to their race, they get skittish in the stall there. And you'd rather be a thoroughbred than a donkey. So what that means is confidence is not a lack of fear. Confidence is not a lack of being nervous. Confidence is not a lack of anything like that. It's really just how you put yourself forward. And the way to appear confident is to have, first of all, the belief that, you know what, I can do this. I can do this. Because if you believe that in yourself, other people will believe you. People will believe you to the exact degree you believe in yourself. So start changing the way you think about yourself, first of all. But then go out there. A smile exudes more confidence than anything. If you're not sure about yourself, if you go out to be a friend to somebody, that confidence will come to you because you're focusing on somebody else. I used to think of it this way. I'm very visual. And so when I would think about having a conversation with somebody, and let's say, I remember this was when I was dating, like in the early days. And if, you get nervous talking to somebody, a boy or something, and I put in my mind, no, I'm nervous because I'm making this about me. I'm nervous because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what is he thinking? Or what are they thinking? Or, are they judging me? That's how you get nervous, is you're thinking only about you. But when you focus on somebody else and turn the spotlight, visually I would think of a spotlight and say, nope, off of me, put it on them. And when you're legitimately interested in somebody else and listening and interacting and trying to connect with somebody else, your nervousness goes away and that confidence exudes. So it goes hand in hand. Yay, Brooke, you reserved your spot in the webinar. Please do as soon as you can, because we do fill up really quick, and these are totally free, absolutely free for you, and we want you to make this the best year you've ever had. We're in the home stretch of 2016. We're about to be in the last quarter, and this is the make it or break it quarter, right? What are you going to do with this year? You're never going to get it back. In fact, you will never get today back. So starting today, what are you going to do different? How are you going to make this the best year of your life? I want you to. I want to have the best year of my life too. Liz says, we're always judging and being judged on a daily basis. People judge you anyway. How do you differentiate between discernment and judgment? Oh, great question. Well, you know what discernment is really just the ability to have the wisdom of knowing what to do in a situation. But you know what? If you know that you're always going to be judged. And in fact, you can never be liked by everyone. So if you know that you are there to make, if you're there to make everyone happy, you're going to fail. You're going to fail. Even Zig, who could possibly not love Zig Ziglar? And especially once you've met him, it was like, you just couldn't help but love him. Same with Gene, his wife. They're just wonderful people. But yet there were still people that would sometimes say things and criticize, but they didn't know him. So my point is if he ever stopped doing what he was doing because of those who judged and maybe didn't have something positive to say, think of all the people in the world he wouldn't have helped. Think of all of you. Think of me. I wouldn't be the person I am today if he gave up because of criticism or judgment. So I guess what that is more of a certainty in yourself. And it sometimes comes with age and wisdom and all that. I was a people pleaser beyond people pleaser in my teens, my 20s, even my 30s. The older I get, I'm more aware of it. Now, do I want to make people happy? Of course, because I want to make a difference in their life. But I also have the discernment of my own to know in my own spirit, I'm not called to make everyone happy, but I am called to make a few. And those who don't get me, that's okay. I'm not for everybody. And you aren't for everybody. So don't worry about what people say. Life's too short, truthfully. And especially if you're doing what you know you were born to do, if you are following your passion, you're living with purpose, don't worry about what other people think. It really doesn't matter. And I have one person to please, and it's nobody on this earth. And so for you, who are you really trying to please? And I don't know. That's my 2 cents on that. Can you tell us how we can decrease our habits like being outspoken? So I want to make sure I understand that question. How to decrease your habits like being outspoken. So what I think that means is how to be appropriate with what you say. You know, everything is, it is etiquette to first listen before you speak. It's obviously etiquette to pause before you speak. Now, there is nothing wrong with sharing your opinion, but it does depend on what your opinion is on. There are certain topics that, you know, just generally people have, there's some tension behind it. I think, you know, the older I get, the more outspoken I am about my beliefs and about what I'm passionate about. I think that it's okay to share your thoughts and your opinions. I mean, you have them and they're there to be shared. But if it's going to hurt somebody else, if it's going to offend somebody else, I would just, you know, think about that before you speak. I mean, I feel like I'm sounding like my mom. Growing up, she'd always say, you know, think before you speak. Because sometimes we may think something, but it doesn't need to be said. And so I hope that helps answer your question. Okay, Melissa's asking, where do we register for the webinar? The device won't let me scroll down. Okay, no problem. At the very top of the webinar, and even if you can't do it while I'm live right now, at the very end, it will post this video again, and the link will be in the description of this video, but I'm hoping you're going to be able to do it. What do you say to those? Darcy's asking, what do you say to those that criticize you? Well, I guess it depends if they're criticizing you to your face or if it's, you know, behind your back. You know, knowing that in life you are going to have people criticize you, just know that. There's no way to get around that, because if you are especially the more you step into your greatness and the more you share your gifts, the more you intimidate others who aren't doing that. So just be aware of that. But if somebody criticizes you directly to you, I would be open-minded, because sometimes what we feel as a criticism could be a critique. And there is a difference, especially in the professional world. I mean, if I took offense to my sales managers through the years when they were telling me what I was needing improvement on, I would be bitter and I probably wouldn't be as successful. But if you try to take it around, okay, and also think, well, what is their motivation for sharing this? If their only motivation is to put you down, well, then take it with a grain of salt and say, like, well, you know what? They believe that the only way they're going to feel better about themselves is by putting someone else down. That poor person. I mean, truly, that's really sad that if somebody feels that way. But also maybe be open-minded that maybe it is something that they're coming from the right motive, that they want to help you. So it's not really criticism, it's a critique. Hello, Sharif. Hello. He's saying hi to everybody. How to be confident. So Aziz, I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong, is asking how to be confident and influence people. You know, confidence we're going to be talking about in this webinar that's coming up. So do register, because there's the 3 C's of confidence. You don't want to miss that. But I do think, just real shortly, I'll share, when you get crystal clear on who you are and you are comfortable in your own skin, confidence exudes. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. And the way to really understand, you know, who you are, why you're here, what your gifts are, is thinking first about your passions. What are you passionate about? Your purpose in life will be tied to passion. It just will. You're going to enjoy, you know, I love doing this. Like, there's nobody in the world that could take me away from doing this stuff. I love it. I'm passionate about it, and which then gives me confidence. So the first thing is really getting clear on who are you, not who others want you to be, not who you try to be to fit in, but who are you really? And the more you live in your own skin, the more you share your seeds of greatness, and the more you become who you were created to be and be proud of it, the more confident you have. But it does come with realizing that not everybody's going to get that. And that's okay, though. It's better to be who you are and live a life of joy and happiness and peace, and have the right people get who you are, than try to live a life just pleasing everyone else. Because I can promise you one thing, no matter how hard you try, you cannot please everyone. So please yourself. And, for those of us who this is important, please God first and then yourself. Anyway, thank you, Nikki. I appreciate it. And thank you, Cindy. All my friends are here today, too. I love it. I love the people within Ziglar. I know everyone has a busy week, so I'm not going to keep you, but I just wanted to encourage you that life is too short to be ordinary. It's just too short. You all are here for a reason. And maybe today's message is something that's going to change the direction of your week, which will then change the direction of your month. I hope. That's my prayer for you. But it does start with you. And the easiest way to get momentum and the easiest way to build yourself up, to build a business, to build a reputation, to build favor with other people is stop thinking of yourself and figure out what can you do for someone else today without anything getting in return. What can you do? Like Zig would say, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. You all are awesome. Thank you, Bren. You are awesome too. Have an awesome week. And if you need anything, again, download these free resources. They're all in the link here. You definitely want to join the webinar. Stay in touch. I am Michelle Prince. I am a proud Zig Ziglar Legacy Certified Trainer. And I hope you have an amazing, amazing day.